I hope you all are in good health. I would like to welcome the management and thank them for this opportunity for hosting the call. We have with us today the senior management team of Meghmani Fine Chem, represented by Mr. Maulik Patel, Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Kaushal Soparkar, Managing Director, Mr. Sanjay Jain, Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Milind Kotecha, Investor Relations Officer, and Mr. B. Ravi, Management Advisor, the erstwhile CFO of Adani Ports. I shall now hand over the call to the management for the opening remarks. Over to you, sirs.
Thank you, Rohit. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to the briefing of our Q2 and H1 FY22 performance. I trust you had the opportunity to run through the earning presentation, which were shared earlier today. We are glad to report a good performance for the first half of FY22. The business environment remains challenging despite normalization of the pandemic. The ongoing energy crisis, supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical issues has made it a volatile quarter. Our plants have achieved higher capacity utilization, and our projects are on track for completion as per the schedule provided. While the demand environment remains robust, our margins were marginally impacted due to the inflationary pressure on the raw material prices, primarily on coal. Even though we have adequate supply of raw materials to ensure continuity of our operations, there is significant uncertainty in the market about the input cost. Despite this, we are confident that our margins would be sustained in the range of 28 to 32% on account of focus on improving efficiency, addition of value-added derivative products in our basket, and strengthening our fully integrated complex. As per the growth outlook, we are convinced that the demand will continue to be robust, and we are strategically positioned to capture this demand. We are reiterating our long-term revenue guidance of 2,000 crore by FY24. Now I will hand over to the call to Mr. Sanjay Jain, our CFO, who will walk you through the financials. Over to you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Maulik. Good evening, all of you. To begin with the overall plant utilization, the plant utilization is 90%, which is improved by 16% on year-on-year basis. The production of hydrogen peroxide has ramped up, and the utilization is 85% in second year of operation. The utilization of caustic soda increased by 28%, and the chloromethane, the sales realization growth is 50% on year-on-year basis. Higher sales volume and increase in realization led to a revenue growth of 61% at rupees 340 crore on year-on-year basis. The EBITDA in absolute terms improved by 41% on year-on-year basis. However, EBITDA margin stand at 30% against 34% same quarter last year. EBITDA margin was lower since the inflationary pressure of input price, especially the key raw materials like coal, salt, and methanol were higher and could not be fully offset against the higher product realization. Our PAT was up by 83% at rupees 47 crore. On half-yearly basis, the revenue from operation grew by 81% to rupees 630 crore, backed by higher volume across both the segments and better realizations. EBITDA grew by 71% to rupees 193 crore, and PAT grew by 93% to rupees 84 crore. The long-term debt has increased by 138 crore in September 22, as the company has borrowed additional debt of rupees 198 crore and made a repayment as per the schedule of rupees 60 crore. Thus, our long-term debt, which was at 463 crore in FY21, has increased to 600 crore in H1 FY22. The debt shown in financial and presentation is rupees 811 crore, considering the preference share of 211 crore, which was part of equity till FY21, but now reclassified as a debt pursuant to the scheme of arrangement. Even after considering the preference share as a part of debt, the debt to EBITDA stands 2.2x as on 30th September 2022. For apple-to-apple comparison, we have to exclude the preference shares. The debt to EBITDA for H1 stands 1.7, which improved to 1.7 against the 2.1 of FY21. Our return on capital employed for H1 22 has improved substantially at 23% against 16% of FY21. With respect to expansion plan, we are well on track as of today and expect that all the 3 expansion projects will commission as per the scheduled plan. We have incurred cash outflow of 230 crore in last 6 months related to the 3 projects which is going on as of now. With this, we can open the floor for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Our first question is from the line of Rahul Veera from Abacus. Please go ahead.
Hi, Maulik bhai. Hi, Sanjay ji.
Hi. Hello.
So just a quick question. How was the logistics and the coal pricing trending as of now?
The coal prices are moving up continuously, but at the same time, the finished goods of also price is going up continuously, and there is no import coming right now. So because of the global scenario and a global demand, so coal price, whichever is increasing in the power cost, we are able to pass on immediately on all the finished goods. So that is due to the demand. So that is the current scenario right now. Yeah. Anything more you would like to ask about coal?
Yeah. In terms of availability, is there a challenge because the government has diverted towards the power plants only? So for companies like us, is it a challenge to procure coal, or in terms of RM, like any of the raw materials, are you seeing any challenges for ourselves?
I would like to say that in the western part of India, we are located on the port area, and the Gujarat is a big coastal line. So in one or the other port, the coal is lying in abundance, and it is continuously coming. So definitely, because of the coal shortage, we are not suffering anything in terms of production loss, and we are not going to be in coming times as well, because of the location of our plant location. Yeah.
Sure. Sounds great. Yeah. Thank you so much, and best wishes for the coming quarter, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Mehban Kotwal from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Congrats on a decent set of numbers. So just checking our presentation where we mentioned that as compared to Q1, our caustic ECU realizations have increased from, say, about 25,000 to 27,000. Just wanted to understand, because the feeler which we get from markets and speaking to various dealers seems to suggest a much greater spike in caustic prices. So what would be the reason for this just about like a 8% jump on a quarter-on-quarter basis for caustic ECU realizations? And also just wanted to check that in this ECU, how has been the quarter-on-quarter performance of chlorine as a contributor?
Yeah. So, it is good observation. So just would like to say that, normally these are all caustic soda plants are continuous plant. So, we do have not inventory, but the customer, booking of almost 15 to 30 days, almost we are keeping it. So normally the rise of coal, and the people are talking about the ECU cost and the caustic soda and the chlorine price has gone up, that has started in last 45 days. So, you will not see in the quarter 2, but I think all the effect what people are talking right now, we will see in the quarter 3 results. So that are the major reasons. But yes, you are absolutely right that you will see the major change in terms of the caustic price and the coal price results you can see in the quarter 3.
So basically in quarter 3, we will see a much significant delta in ECU realizations vis-a-vis whatever cost increase we are seeing right now. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right. And this started in the month of September, and it is continuously moving up. So everything that you can see in quarter 3 and quarter 4, it will continue like this. Then you will see that result what you are expecting.
Correct. Sir, and on the chlorine side, have we seen sequentially some kind of improvement, or that has been flattish?
See, chlorine side also we are seeing significant improvement. It is coming from the month of October. and we are almost reached to around, on the positive side, started moving from the 1st of October, and we are moving in the higher realization of the chlorine as well, along with the caustic soda.
Right. So, sir, broadly, what is our reading of the market? So, from your comments, basically there are no imports which are coming in. I'm sure there'll be a lot of export potential right now also, because globally prices are also trending upwards. So, and of course on the third side, we've got a lot of capacities which are seemingly coming online maybe towards the end of 1Q, beginning of 2Q next calendar year. So are we seeing the market as being short supplied at this moment, and do we expect this trend to continue, or do we see this as being temporary till the time the new capacities come in?
See, this is the scenario where we have not expected after COVID all the manufacturing, everything is coming online. Same time, the infrastructure spending by all the countries just to boost up their economy. So demand of alumina has gone up like substantially. If you see in last 3-4 months, and that is the outcome we are seeing it right now. So first of all, Nalco and Vedanta, like big customers in India who have alumina production, they have stopped buying from import because the import price was much expensive than the domestic price. So that has helped us to to running our our capacity on the optimized manner. So this all results, and this affect us on the better in terms of the caustic realization.
Right. So any progress on the export front in terms of us wanting to capture some markets globally?
Yeah. In a quarter two, there are some opportunities other than the Nalco and Vedanta for the export opportunities while the disruptions happen in Hurricane Ida in the North America. So it was started increasing the export opportunity. So many of the companies has taken the export opportunity, but at the same time, the disruptions also happen in the other part of the countries like China, and the demand itself increased in India. So, the better realization people are getting in the domestic rather than the export, then people stop focusing on the export compared to the domestic market. So this is a trend currently right now.
Great, sir. Thank you, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Darshit Shah from Nirvana Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, if you look year-on-year comparison versus last year Q2, the realizations in all caustic soda is up around 28%, chloromethane is up more than 50%, hydrogen peroxide almost flat, but our gross margins have gone down from around 55% to 45%. So, and that presumably because of raw material pressure. So, can you just tell us where this pressure is coming from and what has led to this decrease in gross margins by 10% year on year despite realizations being so firm?
Yes. So as I mentioned, all the infrastructure happened at the same time, and after COVID, everything started moving. All economy, all the manufacturing activities started on the full-fledged. Compared to last year, that was one of the reasons. So actual demand has picked up drastically the worldwide, not only in India. That was the major reason why this is happening. Second thing, in terms of volume-wise and in terms of value-wise also, we have grown this financial year because last 3 years we have done a capex on our caustic soda expansion and the hydrogen peroxide. Both the plant we have commissioned in the end of quarter 2 last financial year. So that result in terms of volume also we are seeing in this financial year. So I think because of that we are seeing a huge growth in terms of the numbers.
So my question was with respect to the gross margins being down year on year compared to last quarter where it was 55%. This quarter it's around 45%. Despite realizations being so up versus last year Q2.
Okay.
So Mr. Sanjay will answer, the exact questions what you have,
You have rightly observed that the realization has gone up on quarter-to-quarter basis, like 28% jump in ECU realization of caustic, as well as 53% in jump in chloromethane prices, sales realization. But at the same time, our gross margin is down by 10%. This is mainly on account of the input cost, which has gone up substantially. If you consider key raw material prices of coal or salt, the salt prices quarter-to-quarter is up almost by 33%. And if you look at the coal prices, that is up by almost 88%. So this is the main reason. Apart from that, if you look at our overhead, that is well under control. So basic reason of down in the margin is input cost, which has gone substantially pertaining to the major materials like coal, salt, and methanol. That is the major reason.
And so despite this material inflationary pressure, we seem to maintain that the overall EBITDA margin, mainly because of the operating leverage that would probably come in, will be in the range of 28 to 32%. Is that correct?
If you look at the EBITDA in absolute term, it has gone up in absolute term from 113 crore to 193 crore. That is almost up by 71% compared to H1 of last year in this 6-month period. But yes, if you look at the EBITDA margin, we expected that apart from increase in input prices, we expect that EBITDA margin may remain in the range of 28% plus minus 2% here and there.
So what's important at this stage is to understand that the EBITDA, absolute EBITDA, is more important than the margins per se, because the new capex which is coming adds to the top line far more, and even with a lower margin than, let's say, the existing one, you still have, because the asset turnover being higher, the absolute EBITDA is always higher. What you really need to see is along with the margins, what has happened to the ROC. If you see the ROC, then that gives you the right indication, and Sanjay, if you can tell what the return on capital has been, employed has been, that will give a proper indication.
So the return of capital employed, which was 16% FY21, that has jumped to 23% in H122, FY22. So you can see that whatever the return of capital employed was there, because the EBITDA, the profit in the absolute term is increasing from its last year levels.
Got it. And so my last question is pertaining to, we hear a lot of companies saying that power and especially the procurement of coal and all is an issue. So do we kind of foresee that issue popping up for us as well, or we are confident that there won't be any supply side issues in the coming quarters?
Yeah, see, coal is going to be a global issue right now. Not only coal, but energy in terms of, as a gas also, there is a big concern right now throughout the worldwide. But our biggest strength is the demand is also accepting whatever the price we are getting increase in the energy. That is biggest thing. And second positive point is for us our location. We are strategically located at the western part of India, where the HPCPRN, our coal port, is only 5 kilometers from our location. So there, a huge amount of coal is continuously coming. And so we don't find any major concern in terms of the supplyability for the coal. Definitely cost is a concern. It is continuously going up. But looking at the current demand, we are able to pass on immediately on the consumer. So this is the scenario right now for the coal.
Sure. Got it. Thank you so much for the clarification. All the best.
Thank you. Before we take our next question, we would like to remind participants to ask a question, you may enter star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Giriraj Daga from KM Visaria Family Trust. Please go ahead.
Hello team. A couple of questions from my side. So first, I would like to understand generally we on caustic side we talk about per kg kind of a performance. So has the spread in the October been higher compared to September average on a per kg basis?
Yes, absolutely. As the energy cost is going up, definitely we are able to pass on immediately the cost on the consumer, and definitely the issue you will see in the next quarter, it is continuously moving upwards, month by month also.
No, I mean to say that the issue increase is higher than the cost increase what we are witnessing on a per kg basis.
So this is a continuous plan, as I mentioned, but yeah, we are able to pass on immediately on the consumer. Definitely, we have a backlog of 15-20 days, because as everybody knows that this is going to be the situation in coming 3-4 months. Everybody's about that, so we don't take a big orders on a long-term basis, and we become cautious and we buy only for 15-20 days inventory. So definitely, we are able to pass on immediately the cost, whatever increase in the energy, in 15-20 days time.
Okay. Second, in terms of our raw material mix, how much percentage is salt, coal, and methanol as percentage of revenue?
The total raw material cost is around 51% comprises of methanol as well as coal as well as salt altogether as a company as a whole against the revenue.
But if you can give some breakup there between these three items?
The company as a whole is 51%. We not disclose as a individual.
35 maybe coal.
Maybe 40%, substantial is 40% is a coal over there, and the rest is the other raw materials.
Okay. Next question is what is the coal sourcing mix? What percentage is domestic or international? And do we also use some lignite also in the mix?
Yes, we do lignite we do mixing of lignite as well as coal, but lignite availability is very less. So mainly we are dependent on the imported coal. Yeah, you can say roughly around 90-10 ratio kind of thing, 90 with the 85 to 15% kind of thing. Yeah.
85% imported and 15% domestic and lignite.
So we are located in Gujarat, and Gujarat has a availability of lignite, but it is not in that much quantities available, which can cater to all the users. Yeah.
Okay. Understood. Thanks a lot from my side.
Thank you. We will take our next question from the line of Alisha Mahavla from Envision Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening, and thank you for taking my question. So just wanted to understand the CapEx plan that we have, the 3 projects that we're expecting will commercialize next year, and the 550 crore CapEx we're doing. What is the expected asset turn for this CapEx that we're doing?
Okay. The total CapEx plan for the ongoing expansion, which is going on as of now, comprises Epichlor, Hydrogen, CPVC, and third phase of caustic, is around about 700 crores. Out of that, if you know that 135 crore we already incurred in the FY21. This year, in the last 6 months, we have incurred around about 230 crore, and we expect that another 120 or 125 may outflow will be there in the second half of this year. The rest will be taken in the next year, like around about 200 crores in next year. So that is the way we have managed our cash flow, and that is the way we plan about the outflow of the project's expenditure. About the top line, when we conceived the project, that time the rate for the sales price, what we have considered, we are expected that we're going to have a top line of 1,000 crore. But in today's scenario, if you look at the sales realization of ECH and CPVC, we expected that more than 1,700 top line will be there. Once we commission this 3 plants with the optimized level of utilization and full year of operations.
Okay, so if I may just clarify here, the 700 odd capex that you're doing, on steady state basis, the revenue expected was 1,000 crores. Obviously, considering the elevated realizations that we're witnessing currently, it will be much higher. So it's safe to say that a large part of the 2,000 crore revenue target we have for 24 is coming from these projects. But are we expecting them to be completely utilized in 6 to 8 months to achieve this target?
Yes, every project has its different timing in terms of the capacity utilization. But yes, we are able to utilize completely. I think we will reach to optimum capacity within 6 months' time, all 3 projects.
Sure. And the margin guidance that you're giving of 28 to 32%, will the 3 projects help in achieving margins more towards the higher end of this range, or any comment on that?
Absolutely.
Actually, if you look at the margin, the elevated sales price has increased the top line. What we have committed, what we have conceived at the time of completing this project. But at the same time, if you look at the raw material prices, that has also gone up almost 3 times what was there initially at the conceiving of the project time. So we've not expected any change in the margin as far as the sale prices elevation is concerned. Our margin may remain in the range of 28 to 30% as a company as a whole.
Just to add to that, but the positive point here will be, like we are getting into these new projects, so the asset turnover in these projects are higher, which will ultimately lead to the higher EBITDA in terms of absolute amount. So the ROCE, which was as on FY21 16%, will move up to 24% or even above that. So the margins will be in the range what we had specified, 28 to 32%, but ROCE is something which will move up.
Understood. And just one last question, if I may. Our current capacity utilization in caustic soda is almost 90%. Is this the peak, or can we go higher to say 95% or more? Current capacity utilization.
Yeah, as a year as a whole, we are going to remain around 90%. But as a quarter-wise, it can change. It can vary minor. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But as you are aware about it, we are expanding our caustic soda plant along with our ECH and CPVC plant as well. So definitely, once we commission that plant, we will reach to 294,000 tons per annum capacity to 400,000 tons per annum in second half of next financial year.
Understood. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Sanju from Infi. Please go ahead. Request you to please unmute your line and go ahead with your question, Sanju. There seems to be no response from this line. We'll take our next question from the line of Aditya Jawar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah.
I have a general question, like talking about the industry sector. It's like a commodity, right? There is no entry barrier. Each and every company are doing into derivative segments, like multiple companies. Like they are going into derivatives like ECH or chloromethane. Based on their they are building the capacities. And what MFL has the edge so that it enjoys the great margins. And is it related to the manufacturing unit, how it is situated? Or again, the derivative segments which we are going into, it will be a volume game. Like whoever builds a great volume, they will gain the market share. So can you give some sense on this edge, what MFL enjoys?
Yeah. So Sanju, let me give you idea about it. So caustic soda and caustic potash, the chloralkali we are into. In that also, if you look at the history of Make Money Fine Chem, we have always maintained and earned the EBITDA margin of more than 32%. So that is because of the efficiency and the focus of the company on the plant design, where we can actually generate more by inputting less. So that is one of the edge of Make Money Fine Chem, where we are doing good even in the chloralkali. But I understand your point where you're coming from, that okay, it's a chloralkali, so price go up and down, so the margins are higher, as good as 47% in FY19. So we have got into the value-added derivative products like chloromethanes and hydrogen peroxide to bring the consistency in our top line as well as the bottom line. So that is there. Plus another thing, the strength of the company, you can see it's a well-invested infrastructure. Like generally you would see a company where you have a small unit, but if you come to our plant, it is almost 60 hectares of land. So management had a vision in 2007 of creating a chloralkali ecosystem. So because we are in chloralkali, we are in chloromethane, we are in hydrogen peroxide, now we are getting into the CPVC and ECH. So that's where we are building the chloralkali ecosystem. That's where our efficiency goes up, and that's where our margins are constant in whatever the like FY21 when the caustic soda prices were lowest. At that time, also we maintained EBITDA margin of 32% because we were in chloromethanes and hydrogen peroxide. To add to other point in terms of CPVC and ECH, like you would be aware, in ECH we are the first one in India to do that, and that was 100% renewable resources. So again, that adds in a first mover advantage, and also a management's vision to do something which no one is doing. So that's where continuous innovation in terms of getting into new products helps the company to do continuously well. That way, it's also in the CPVC. Like once we commission our plant, we will be the largest manufacturer in terms of CPVC. And down the line also, the management has very much clear focus to get into specialty chemicals where it will be served to the agrochem and the pharmaceutical industries. So further down the line, it will be more of a, I would put in a way, it's more of a proper allocation of the capital. So that's where focus is, and that's what's the edge of the Make Money Fine Chem.
Okay, that was very brief, sir. Thank you for that. And regarding you said we will go into agrochem and pharmaceuticals. So it will be like these derivatives, or it will be totally another acquisition kind of company there you will expand your skills? Because through this also it is possible that you can go to agrochem and pharmaceutical through these derivatives.
As a company, as a plan to remain only into the agro intermediates or pharma intermediates. We are not aiming to enter into the pharma and agro market. So
yeah, through intermediates only I'm asking.
Yeah. So in last 5 years, a lot of specialty chemical companies have grown in India. As a China plus one strategy, they are getting a lot of opportunity from the multinational companies to set up, and as a second source from India, not dependent only on China. So this gives a lot of advantage in some of the chemicals. These specialty chemicals companies are depend on the China only right now. And so as a replacement of those molecules, we are planning to set up in India in coming times.
Okay. So it will not be like some derivative segment, it will be totally another plant. So we will be focused on those intermediates. That is a longer term vision you are saying, after maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to start focusing as an integrated complex. We will add on as a chlorine derivative. We'll start with. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Vibha Batra from Fair Connect. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking my question. My question is on your long-term vision. You have given a turnover vision for FY24. Would it be possible to give, what would be your ROCE in that year? And to achieve this turnover, would you need further capex, or the current capex is good enough?
No. See, whatever we have announced already, 695 CR capex, what we are going to do it. With that capex only, we are going to cross 2,000 crore by financial year 2024. Yeah. So we don't need any more capex to reach at this level, yeah. But definitely companies continuously finding out a new products where to enter, and that is all our continuous aim. But once we commission the ECH project, then we'll focus about the new project in the coming times.
Okay. What would be the ROCE when you achieve this turnover in FY24?
Yeah, so even in FY 2024, once we reach the 2,000 CR of revenue, our ROC will be around 24 or higher than that.
Okay.
I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from Raj Nahar from Meli Consultant. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, and congratulations on excellent number. I have some specific question, if you can throw light about current price ruling for chloromethane and caustic potash and chlorine, please.
And chlorine, yeah. So, the current, as I mentioned, the infrastructure in the country is growing. After COVID, all the manufacturing is on full-fledged. And this is not the situation only in India, but throughout the world. So the demand of all the products are moving up. Or add-on, there is a logistic issue because of the demand suddenly came after COVID. So logistic issue, many products are import substitute, not import substitute, but many products which are, import substitute or net import in India. Like chloromethane, India is net importer. Caustic soda, India is net importer. In those kind of products, people are finding logistic issue and the demand has picked up. So this all gives the caustic soda, chloromethane as well as caustic potash to move upward directions. And caustic potash,
Can you give the specific number for chloromethane, caustic potash, and how is the chlorine moving up?
So you need a specific price. See, this is based on the raw material situation. Currently, it is continuously moving and it is keep changing. So there is no particular number as of now, you can say.
Yeah.
So based on the raw material changing, like methanol price changing, we change the chloromethane prices. Based on the KCl price keep changing, we change the KO's price. Based on the salt and coal is keep changing, we change caustic soda price. So it is continuously moving upwards. Yeah.
But can you be specific if it is possible, basically? That is the thing secret about it. Everybody knows in the market, from the dealer also it is known. But if you can throw some specific number, it will be helpful in understanding that how the market is and how you are going to perform in this quarter and next quarter. So if it is possible.
In terms of ECU that we have already shared, it is around 27,000 as on 30.
No, current price I am asking, sir, if it is possible.
Current price would be...
See, current price, if you see of the caustic soda, it is on the continuously increasing, as I mentioned, but it has crossed 60,000 per ton.
Yeah.
It has crossed. In chloromethane, it is, as I mentioned, it is also net importer. So that price is also, it is more than 110. I'm talking about the MDC price. So this price are... Sorry?
Caustic potash?
Caustic potash price is also, based on the KCl price increased, we are also passing on to the customers, and it is reached to around 120,000, levels.
Okay, sir. And last question, just one more question. A lot of new chloromethane capacity is coming, like Gujarat Alkali and TGV, this Rayalaseema Alkali, and some other also is coming, and that's a large capacity. So is it going to be, and Grasim is also starting. So will there be a glut-like situation because huge capacities are coming?
Yeah. So, the capacity of chloromethane are increasing in India. It is based on the two major factors, because one factor is a pharmaceutical division, which is growing very fast. And as I mentioned, the chloromethane, India is a net importer. So we are, irrespective of our Indian capacity is not sufficient as of now. So we require more manufacturing capacity in coming time. That is one. Second thing, the refrigerant gases. India is a hot country, and we required continuous air conditioning, and that demand is increasing in India. So definitely the people are spending on, are expanding on the refrigerant gases side, all manufacturers, and they also need enough feedstock as a MDC for the new refrigerant gases which is coming up in coming times. So both this, because of this demand is increasing, people are not only expanding the chloromethane, but they are also expanding the downstream of refrigerant gases and the pharmaceutical intermediates, which consumes more MDC.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, and all the best for the coming time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from Dr. Amit Vora from the Homeopathy. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. I am audible?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
So my question is regarding this price rise of caustic soda in the international market. So how much percentage rise do you see in margins in Q3? An approximate number.
Looking at the current situation, the coal prices are moving up. Simultaneously, even the caustic soda prices are moving up. So in terms of absolute the EBITDA that we have, we can maintain that, we can view that. So how far it will go, no one knows. But one can maintain the price hike in the coal by absorbing in the selling price.
So you mean we will be able to sustain in spite of margins of coal being higher?
Yeah, because the current demand situation, it is easily absorbed as the cost increasing, as the feedstock cost is increasing, it is easily absorbed by the customers. So definitely, yeah, we are able to pass on immediately in 15-20 days time to the consumers.
Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from Sanket Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Congratulations, sir, for a very good result for the quarter and H1 FY22. So my question is again on the realization price. I think international price has gone up to $1,000. So as you rightly mentioned that India price is also in the range of 60K. So do you see this price may cool down in future
or do you see that this price may continue to remain at this level? What is your sense on this?
See, in terms of demand, we don't see this demand is going to come down very easily.
Okay.
But yes, in terms of the energy prices, the situation which is right now, nobody knows till what time it is going to continue like this. But in terms of demand, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the manufacturing demand in India, we don't see any downward in coming times.
Okay. My next question is on the power mix. So can you please let us know how much of our currently power we are having from our own power plant, and are we buying anything from the grid or any other renewable sources?
Okay. The total capacity of our captive power plant is 96 megawatt, and running the present plant operation, we don't want any outside power from GV or something like that. But we do have the arrangement of sourcing power from grid.
Yeah. So we have a 20 megawatt capacity we can absorb, we can consume from the GB, and remaining we can use from the captive power plant. So we have that kind of infrastructure as a backup plan, yeah.
Okay. And sir, can you please throw some light on what was the power rate we had in previous quarter, and what is the power rate currently for this quarter?
See, majorly it is consumed from the captive power plant in-house. So as Sanjay sir said, we are actually not taking it from the grid. Majorly, almost 90 or 98% would be from the in-house. So the power cost would be in range with hike in the coal price.
Okay, so can it be in the range of current quarter power cost would be in the range of 4.5 to 5 rupees because it's own power plant? Is it safe to assume?
Yeah, as you see, the people are talking about the coal price increase and the power cost increase. I think we are able to pass on immediately, as I mentioned, to the consumers. So you can see everything is in quarter 3. I don't think so any effect of the price increase is in the quarter 2 as of now.
Okay, so quarter 2 price would be in the range of 4.5 to 5 rupees or power rate per kWh?
See, these prices keep varying, See, from time to time, depending on the coal. Maybe today it could be around 6 rupees, and if coal comes down, it could go back to those 4.5 levels. Generally, the prices are around that, what you said, but it keeps, and if you have to really take it from the grid, it could be about 2 rupees higher than this. But then those kinds are quite insignificant, looking to whatever are the total costs involved in that kind of an increase. Because what Maulik said, it can get passed on.
Okay, understood. Can I just get a sense on Q2 rate? So we can then build on that what will be the rate for, adjusting the coal price.
Rate of?
Power rate.
Actually, a captive power plant may be around 6.5%, but as Ravi sir said, that the difference between our power which we source from outside vis-a-vis our own generation, the difference is 2 to 2.5 rupees as of now.
Okay, fine. Sir, my next question is on the chlorine. So can you please let us know how much chlorine currently we are captively consuming, and how much chlorine we are selling it to outside market?
Actually, right now we are producing 294,000 of capacities then caustic. Against that, we're getting around about 260 tons of chlorine. Out of that, looking to our infrastructure and looking to our value addition derivative production, we have around about 60% in-house consumption. But once we commission the ECH and CPVC, the consumption, in-house consumption will go up a little bit, 10% plus over there.
Okay, so it will be 10% in-house consumption, including the caustic capacity which we are adding. So it will increase up to 70%.
Yeah. On the enhanced capacity of caustic.
Okay. And any pipeline sales? Are we having any pipeline sales also?
Yes. We have a pipeline sales of chlorine. A couple of customers we are keeping by pipeline.
Okay, and what would be the approx percentage of pipeline sales?
See, this 60% which Mr. Sanjay has mentioned is including the pipeline customers, yeah.
Okay, understood. Yeah, thank you, sir. That's from my side, and best of luck for the next quarter. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sanju from Infi. Please go ahead. Sanju, may we request you to unmute your phone and go ahead with your question? There seems to be no response. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to ask a question, you may enter star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. Mr. Rohit Nagraj, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thanks. So in terms of our caustic sales, how much of it is usually contracted and how much of it is spot? Because given that the price rise has happened, completely it would not be accruing to us because there will be some contracted sales which we have negotiated earlier, and obviously for those the margins will be on a normalized basis, and for the spot sales we'll have higher margins. So how is the arrangement generally on the contracted side? Thank you.
Rohit, yeah. So normally, we don't have it depends on the company to company. Some of the big multinationals, some of the big companies, they do a quarterly contract. So we have a maximum up to 2 months or 3 months contract with a big company. And over and above, current situation, many companies wanted to do quarterly because to secure the raw material, and everybody knows about the energy prices, what is going on. But we are not entertaining those people who has wanted to enter. We were never purchased in the past in terms of quarterly. But the people in the big companies who are buying with us in many years with a quarterly contract, we are supporting them in terms of the current pricing. Yeah. So you can say that around 80% we have on the spot and the 20% based on the consistency basis of the quarterly. People are doing a quarterly contract. Yeah. In the current situation. So we have continued with that. Many companies right now approaching us for the long-term contract and the quarterly contract to secure their raw materials. But as we are not aware about the current situation, what is going on in the coal, and we are not able to pass on immediately, so we don't entertain those kind of customers right now. We deal maximum with monthly basis with them. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And have we started any exports given that the environment is positive and the demand is also there?
So currently we are not focusing on the export because we export. Purely we do it based on the realization point of view. So we add the logistic cost, and then we think it makes more sense to make it sell in the domestic or the export. So currently, because export FOB definitely people are not ready to take, then we don't entertain those people. But in terms of FOB, people are ready to take with us, then we entertain them. But it is purely based on the realization. How much realization we are going to get? If it is realization affecting the domestic prices, we are not entertaining any of those kind of export. We are not attracted and we are not preferred to do export if we are not getting better realization than the domestic.
All right, got it.
We take a call based on the realization. We don't have any preference for the export or something.
Right, got it. Thank you so much and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Dr. Amit Vora from the Homeopathic Clinic. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I'm audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you for taking my second question. So what I would like to ask is that apart from the coal price rise and other input costs, do you foresee any other risk for the future for the company?
See, we see that in the current situation we are able to pass on the immediately benefit to the customers, not benefit but the cost we are passing on. But if the price will go down, definitely till what time it is going to be. So we try to avoid the long-term contract with the customers. And in terms of the working capital utilization, as the price are almost double than the what was in the last quarter. So definitely in terms of the working capital utilization, we are that is the one particular thing which we see not from our side only, but from our customer side as well. We see that is going to be the one particular problem we can see in the future. Yeah.
Just to add on that,
any idea how do you plan to address that risk?
Just to add on that, in the coming quarter, we expect that there may be challenges from the working capital utilizations, looking to the prices which is going substantially on the higher side. But for that also we have planned, we already approached to the working capital partners, and we have planned process of enhancing our existing limit from one level to another level, almost double from the existing level. So that way we are planning for a future procurement of raw materials.
So as a backup plan, we already applied to the bank and they have approved, our limit. So I don't think so we face any issue. But yeah, that is going to be the global issue with each and every customer, because as the price of the many chemical products are going almost 2 times or 3 times, definitely everybody may face an issue in coming times about the working capital.
We made a plan for this. We made arrangement as a backup over there, but looking to the sale prices at the same time, our working capital utilization is on the lower side as of now, and we expect that it may move in the same scenario in the near future.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. Before we do that, before we hand over the call, I would like to say that there are some more questions, sir, from participants. We have a question from Mehran Kotwal from BNK Securities. Please go ahead.
So just wanted to understand what would be the current mix between flake and lye in our overall production mix for caustic soda especially. And second question is that have prices of caustic lye so started affecting the higher prices which caustic flake has been enjoying for the last month or so?
Your voice was a bit not clear. Can you
I'll repeat my question. So what is the breakup between caustic soda flakes and caustic soda lye in our current mix? And my second question was that have prices of caustic soda lye, because I think that was the feedback some companies were sharing, that lye prices have not moved up to the same extent as flake prices. So would that be a fair assessment, or now are we seeing even lye prices getting contracted at a much higher rate?
Yeah. See, this situation of caustic soda lye and flakes, it keep changing. So lye is mostly traded product worldwide. Even in the bulk shipments you can do it. Flakes, there is a limitation because of the solid product and the logistic issue which right now suffering. Every country is suffering. Definitely, but we have a capacity of 800 tons of caustic soda lye, out of we can manufacture 200 tons of flakes. That is our production capacity. But as if we don't get enough delta in the caustic soda flakes, we try to sell more hydrogen in the market. So we keep evaluating how much value added product like caustic soda flakes we are getting it in terms of realization, and based on that we decide whether we wanted to make flakes or we wanted to reduce the capacity of the flakes. So it is not fixed that we can run our plant on continuously on the 200 tons per day, which is our production capacity. We keep changing based on the realization of the caustic soda flakes versus what we are getting it additional sales from the hydrogen selling in the market.
Right, sir. So, but right now, what would the spread be between flakes and lye in our selling mix? How much would lye be lower as compared to flakes as of date?
So currently you can see as out of 200 tons per day capacity, we are running around 150 tons per day plant based on the caustic soda flakes. So we are running 50 tons per less and we are selling more hydrogen. So I think you can be able to understand that the caustic soda flakes, I think caustic soda lye has a better realization. Yeah.
Better realization.
Yeah, as on today. So it is keep changing daily basis. So we can change this plant on the daily basis as well. So it is a completely automized plan. So it is nothing it can fix for a month or for a week or something like that.
Right, sir. Right. So my final question is that we ran our hydrogen peroxide unit also, I think, at 85-90% capacity utilization for this quarter. So how do I read into the margin profile of this business? Is it much higher in terms of EBITDA margin as compared to our overall EBITDA, or is it more or less similar?
You can say, see, it is definitely the EBITDA margin is keep changing in the products, but as our overall product portfolio, we have given an overall view that we will keep a 28 to 32% EBITDA level as a company as a whole. So individual, EBITDA of the particular product, we are not discussing in the common forum,
Correct. Then how much would be the capex that you put on this hydrogen peroxide unit totally?
Hydrogen peroxide, we have done.
The total capex is what we have done for this 60,000 of hydrogen peroxide is around about 225 crores.
225. Right. Thank you so much. All the best.
Good.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Manish Bora from Param Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, hi, sir. As you said that 40% of our requirement is like coal as the percentage of raw material, majority is coal. So like you said, in the fuel mix, 85% is coal and rest 15% is lignite. So I just wanted to know, out of that 85% coal, how much the coal is imported and how much is domestic?
I think Maulik has already answered in that the mix of our coal and the imported coal as well as lignite is around about 10 to 15.
In coal, imported and domestic.
Yeah. We have 100% imported over there and 15% round about is there, which is we are using as a lignite. So the ratio you can say is 85 to 15%.
Okay. So basically 85% of imported coal and 15% of domestic lignite.
In terms of coal, the whole coal is imported and we use Indonesian coal.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the floor back to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
In conclusion, let me highlight that MFL is very well suited for numerous end-user segments. Our roadmap for our near-term as well as long-term appears promising as we incorporate new downstream and value-added product offering, while also strengthening our existing platform resources. Once again, I would like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact our investor relations team. I would like to wish you all a happy Diwali and prosperous New Year on behalf of Make Money Fine Chem team. Thank you very much once again.